This is the UCWC Radio Network. Good afternoon, and welcome to the All Ages Christmas Eve service on the UCWC Radio Network. I'm Reverend Dan Schatz.
And I'm Cassie Lengel, and we'll be your hosts as we take a magical journey over the mountains and into Bethlehem as we celebrate Christmas together. There'll be song and story and the holiness of a newborn child.
This service is brought to you by the Unitarian Congregation of Westchester, with services on YouTube Live every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. and religious education for children at 9 and youth at 11. Come back at 7 p.m. tonight for our Candlelight Christmas Eve service, streaming from our sanctuary with special music from the Spirit Singers and many others. We want to thank everyone who participated in our YouTube radio play today, all of the families and kids, all of our musicians, Miriam Davidson, our music director, Jason Schafer-Valerius, our pianist, and I also want to thank our narrator and chief pageant wrangler, Cassie Lengel. Unitarian Universalism holds that great good comes from wide diversity, so whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever your heritage, and from wherever your beliefs spring, we are pleased that you are here. Let us walk a while together. And now, we light our chalice.
For so the children come, and so they have been coming. Always in the same way they come, born of the seed of humanity. No angels herald their beginnings, no prophets predict their future courses, no wise men see a star to show where to find the babe that will save humankind. Yet each night a child is born is a holy night. Parents, sitting beside their children's cribs, feel glory in the sight of a new life beginning. They ask, where and how will this new life end? Or will it ever end? Each night a child is born is a holy night. A time for singing, a time for wondering, a time for worshiping.
I invite you to sing wherever you are. Joy to the world. And now, a word from our sponsor. This service is brought to you by the generosity of this congregation, and at Christmas, that spirit of generosity is more important than ever. That's why we give away our entire Christmas offering every year to people in our community who need our help. This year, we're supporting the Westchester Food Cupboard and Act in Faith because both organizations help people directly with food and shelter. Think about the story we're telling tonight. It's the story of a family in need. We can help families like that who live in our area. So I hope you will give generously, even if you have already given to support those organizations this year. They are doing the most important work right now during this economic crisis, during this pandemic, and we can help. Of course, all of this is more complicated because we're in our homes, not in our sanctuary. Here's how it works. You can write a check and mail it to us. You can pay online, and there's a link in the service description below. You can give by PayPal, and if you have the app on your phone, all you need to do is hold your phone up to the QR code and it will take you there. I understand that some members of our congregation typically give a separate donation to the congregation on Christmas Eve. If you're planning to do that, please make sure that you mark that donation with the words "for UCWC" in the memo line. To give to Act in Faith and the Food Cupboard, just say "Christmas Offering" in the memo line. So for UCWC or Christmas Offering. If you give on PayPal, we'll presume it's for the Christmas offering unless you tell us something different. Everything is a little bit more complicated this year, but together we can do it. And the most important thing is that we support our neighbors who are hungry or cold or in danger of losing their homes. It may be the most important Christmas gift you give this year. We will now receive our Christmas offering. Our story this evening is ancient, but it's made new each time we tell it. Listen and watch our play as if you are hearing and seeing it all for the first time, before myth was mistaken for history. This is the quiet story of a peaceful birth, of a humble carpenter and his gentle wife, of shepherds in the starlit fields, of animals in a stable, and of the human longing for peace. Imagine you have never heard this story before. Imagine that for the first time you are hearing a story that questions the assumption that power resides in armies and armadas and magic swords and sacks of gold. Prepare your heart to understand the message this story holds out of the strong, transforming power of love. Sit back and gather the family together as we begin our tale.
Our story begins in the city of Rome, the center of a mighty empire whose fierce and strong armies had conquered much of the world. So it was decreed by the Emperor Caesar Augustus, and it was decided to have all people in his empire counted and registered. And so he decreed,
I declare that all people must go to the city or town where they were born to be counted and registered.
Caesar's decree meant a long journey for Mary and Joseph, all the way from their home in Nazareth, over the hills of Judea, and into Bethlehem, where Joseph's family once lived and where he was born. It would take them at least 4 days to get there, and it would be a difficult journey, as Mary was expecting a baby soon.
We must set off to Bethlehem.
Oh, I felt the baby kick.
For many miles they traveled, resting at night in the company of others along the road, until at last they came to the town of Bethlehem.
Oh, Mary, I'm so tired.
You're tired. You try carrying a baby over a mountain.
Mary and Joseph were both tired, but with so many people traveling, there were no rooms to be found anywhere in the town. Joseph went from inn to inn asking, but found nothing, until at last one innkeeper told him,
"You can sleep in the stable with the animals. That ought to be warm enough."
It wasn't very nice, but it was the best they could find, and with no other choice Mary and Joseph agreed. And in the stable were some animals.
Nay, nay. Nay, nay.
The animals welcomed Mary and Joseph into the stable. Perhaps they knew, even before Mary and Joseph did, that the time had come for Mary's baby to be born. And that night, Mary gave birth to her firstborn child, a son, in a simple stable surrounded by animals, with the love and support from her partner, Joseph. She wrapped the baby in swaddling cloths, a diaper and a blanket. But there was no cradle, no crib, no bassinet. So Mary laid her child in a manger, which is a kind of feeding box for the animals, because the hay was sweet-smelling and soft. She rested, and then she picked him back up and nursed him if he needed to, and gazed at her new baby in awe.
Sleep, my child, and peace attend thee all through the night. Guardian angels, God will send thee all through the night. Soft the drowsy hours are creeping, hill and vale in slumber sleeping. I my loving vigil keeping all through the night. Deep the silence round us spreading all through the night. Dark the path that we are treading all through the night. Still the coming day discerning by the hope within us burning. To the dawn our footsteps turning all through the night. Star of faith, the dark adorning all through the night. Leads us fearless toward the morning all through the night. Though our hearts be wrapped in sorrow, from the hope of dawn we borrow promise of a glad tomorrow.
That night, in the hills around Bethlehem, there were shepherds out in the fields keeping watch over their flock of sheep, as they did every night.
It's getting boring out here, isn't it?
And suddenly there was a bright light all around them, and an angel of the Lord appeared to them. And this angel was truly magnificent. The shepherds were terrified.
Whoa!
But the angel said to them,
"Fear not, for I bring you tidings of great joy for all people. On this day in Bethlehem there is born a child, which is Christ the Lord. And this shall be a sign to you. You will find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger."
And this is what the angels were saying.
"Glory to God in the highest heaven, and on earth peace and goodwill to all people."
And the shepherds were truly impressed.
Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has come to pass.
So the shepherds went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the babe in the manger, just as the angel had said it would be. When they saw this, they told everyone what the angel had said to them about this newborn child. And everyone who heard their story was amazed at what the shepherds had told them. But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. And so the shepherds and sheep knelt around the manger, praising God for all the wonders they had heard and seen. Now around this same time, wise people from a country to the east noticed a new star in the sky, one they had not seen before. They knew of a prophecy about a star and a child being born, so they followed the star, and it led them to the country of Jerusalem.
Where is this child who has been born King of the Jews? We have come to bear him gifts.
The king told them to go to Bethlehem, and so they followed the star further, and finally it came to rest over the stable where Mary and Joseph's new baby Jesus lay resting. Full of joy, the wise people entered the stable and saw baby Jesus with his mother and father, and they knelt down before him. Then, opening their treasure chests, they presented to him kingly gifts.
I bring you gold. I bring you frankincense.
I bring you myrrh.
And the baby Jesus slept, woke, and nursed, and dreamed whatever dreams babies have. This is the end of the story of Jesus' birth, but not the end of the story of how that birth and his life and his death changed our entire world. All is calm here, although it may not be silent. Each night a child is born is a holy night, because it is the beginning of a new story, a new life that might change the entire world in ways we cannot even imagine. There is love and mystery and wonder in what we see and hear and feel today, as we tell the story of a baby's peaceful birth and the love it inspired in all who witnessed it that night.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. Silent night, holy night, shepherds quake at the sight, glory stream from heaven afar, heavenly hosts sing Alleluia. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night, Son of God, love's pure light, radiant beams from thy holy face, with the dawn of redeeming grace. Jesus, Lord, at thy birth, Jesus, Lord, at thy birth. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round young virgin mother and child, holy infant so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
Our play is at an end now, but the story is made new every time a child is born, every time we are kind to others, and every time our hearts fill with the wonder of life. From all of us to all of you, Merry Christmas and good night. This has been the UCWC Radio Network.
you.